for those of you who are joining us today, this is Adam Penna, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about additive manufacturing and 3D printing. And I have two guests today. It's the first time with two guests, and both of the guests are from a company called Additive Accelerator, which is really pushing what can be done out there as far as partnerships are concerned in the industry to bring things to market, and also just take a look at how applications can be improved during that whole process. So today I'd like to welcome both Guyan and Lester Hitch. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Adam. Good to see you.
Good to see
Adam,
you guys.
Thanks for having us on.
No problem at all. It's good to have you guys on here. And I know we've talked a bit over the last couple of months, and I'm glad this has finally happened this way. So again, thank you very much for doing that. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about what's been happening with you guys, since I know we've all been going through COVID-19 and it's been a few months out now, and things are getting back settled in place as far as people are starting to get out there in the workplace. Now, the last few months have kind of taxing, but at the same time, we've learned a few things and been able to connect a lot more digitally, and a lot of good events have come out of it. So again, how have your last few months been, and what's been going on for you over this time?
Yeah, for me, everyone has a COVID-19 coronavirus story nowadays. And so my particular story was, I actually started here at Additive Accelerator just before everything kind of happened. It was the beginning days of March. I was here in the office for about 2 weeks, and then we responded to the state and federal recommendations, and all of us went home. And then, we went right back into that work from home life for a little bit there. And it was about April when I came back in, and we had a couple projects that were kind of getting hot and heavy that really required all hands on deck. So aside from that, it's been pretty dynamic. We're doing what everyone else is doing. We're trying to respond as bestly to the situation as it's being, relayed to us, as well as the needs of our customers and partners that we're working with.
Yeah, my situation was a little bit different. So I got a new employee. He spends the first couple weeks here to get a little introduction, and then he's back at work from home. So for my situation, our partners and our investors have a lot of medical customers already, so we were allowed to open up partially. And then after a couple of weeks, I ended up coming back in the office, and we basically birthed a new product out of this time. We basically came up with a fever warn,
Nice,
which is focused on reading temperatures at entrances. It's really a straightforward product, but from napkin sketch to basically shipping units the last couple of weeks, it's about 90 days.
wow.
In my 20-year career of building product, I don't think I've ever done anything that fast. And so it's something that, it has, between electronics and, the casing is, of course, being 3D printed, is pretty remarkable. And then again, the other story is that, it brings a little bit of value and safety for our customers, but also their customer. So it kind of worked out well for us. And plus, being a young company like we are, every day you're not in the office is a pretty significant day to, be challenged with, other obstacles. So, I ended up, like I said, I ended up coming in pretty soon, but it was a really quiet office for some time.
Yeah, well, to be able to do what you did during that time, kudos to you. A lot of people were nimble enough to get things done and to work on what's going on in the community, because there's a lot of course, personal protection equipment, but then other applications like that, like a temperature sensor, that, wow, to be able to get in there and help somebody bring that about is not that easy. And in the time that you did it, that shows a lot of what can be done inside of the partnerships of working with people to make things happen. So thanks for doing that.
It was a team effort. Yeah, no problem. It was a team effort, and it was kind of a new dynamic team effort too. One engineer at his house, of course, and Lester at his house, and then me kind of both between house and here. I don't think I've ever developed product that way other than overseas, where you deal with your vendors and stuff. But this was a much different, because this is the stuff that you want to spend the intimate minutes with the teams. You kind of, frame up the workload and so forth, and you're doing it all virtually. So, that's how it goes sometimes.
It is.
Yeah, I'd like to add, while it's cool that we were able to be hands-on with the product, certainly that time of need, I just think being, geeks and fans of our own industry, it was really cool and special to see all the other 3D printing, additive manufacturing companies, all the way from your big companies, OEMs, your big service providers, all the way down to like your local kind of quote unquote mom and pop operations that were really responding to the need for adaptions to PPE equipment and ventilators and the such, that you saw that happening globally. The industry as a whole, I feel like, really stepped up and provided a service to everyone.
Yeah.
And we got new phone calls too from people that,
cool.
we would never, normally talk to in the product sense. What can we do? Can we print them something, a mask or a visor? And our shop's not really set up for it. It's more of a development organization. But it was amazing that the amount of panic. People were really saying, how quick can we get this? We don't care what it costs, or we don't care, how soon we're in time. And anyway, it's just something that for us, I think, looking at the bigger, longer scope, we will always have some sort of preventive maintenance plan that'll help us protect, our employees, of course, but also, how we look at products in the future and so forth. So it is definitely going to be a different landscape for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot to do with risk mitigation, as far as what's happened is it brought, to the forefront, hey, we need to think about these things. So maybe the next time that we're not ready for, we have some kind of a backup plan to make sure it's not just the way it went, which is no one was prepared in any way really for what just happened.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
No, it makes sense. The supply chain needs that right now. And I think that's a big part of the community. We're seeing a lot of people get together and work on things that might have been closed down. There was closed communication. People are opening up communication lines and working together to make it happen. So try to focus on the positivity of what's happening out there, because you could get down the wrong path with negativity, but a lot of people need to focus on what we can do to make things better. And I see that in 3D printing and additive manufacturing. So it's, I can't say enough about it. It's really good to pay attention to that.
Yep.
Well, great. I think, in general, you guys both have dynamic backgrounds. I know Alan with all of your Under Armour experience, and then, what you've been doing now with the Additive Accelerator, and Lester, you and I worked together before, and I know even prior to us working together, you had a lot of background with actually hands-on with a lot of machines and working with the DoD. So having that experience now and working together, that's got to be a great feeling. It's good to partner with the right people. And I think you're doing the right thing inside of getting happening there at Additive Accelerator going. So how do you talk a little about synergy and passion, because I think that's what we all share in this industry. So what got you to this point, and why do you do what you do?
Yeah, I think passion is something that I lead with. If everybody's ever worked with me exclusively, they passion first a lot of ways. I'm passionate about how we make things. I'm passionate about how we message things and so forth. And as we look at our future landscape, Lester came with a breadth of knowledge and breadth of experience, and with my combined of design and engineering experience as well. Of course, just came off a big tenure of Under Armour. Was ready for a change, of course. I think Lester was in the kind of same bucket. So, for us, it's, how do we excel? How do we accelerate out of Accelerator? How do we make it more viable for our future customers, but also future products? What is that? What do those look like, and so forth? And again, with crisis coming in and economy doing different things, it's a challenging market. I won't lie, but the value and credibility that we bring to the table speaks for itself. First to market on 3D printed footwear, bring in commercialization of supply chain footwear for 3D printed parts, the stuff that Lester's done through the DoD, of course, EOS. So we're just getting started in some ways, but at the long run is we have the experience and the credibility to build on something nice. So that's kind of what I feel.
Lester, how about you?
Yeah, I would just echo the same thing. It's great, the combined background experience that Alan and I both have, and it really, and just as well, he and I both enjoy engaging with the people on the other side of the tables of the conversations that we have, and we're equally excited about the work that wants to go on, but also the results and the potential of what that work can mean, both to our industry and the people the products will serve. So that's just a great combination of things going on here.
Yeah, that's a big part of, I like the slogan, the best of the best with Additive Accelerator. That means a lot of things. And I think it's a lot more of the community and what you bring to the table. So looking forward to seeing a lot more. I know you guys also have a webinar coming up soon. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
On June 29th, 2 p.m., hosted by Plastic Technologies Online.
Okay.
We'll be presenting a webinar on injection molding and 3D printing.
Nice. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put a link to that in our discussion here so people could find that, but looking forward to that discussion. What is it exactly, if you can give us a little preview of what that's going to look like?
Yeah, let me add on to that last
Yeah.
bit. So basically, what we've heard from the market quite a bit, and partially our partners too are heavily involved in injection molding market, is a lot of the injection molding community is kind of scared of the 3D printing environment and what it brings and the disruption and so forth. Well, this webinar is really focused on how you can leverage 3D printing for injection molding, right? And that's the part that a lot of people don't know about is, rapid tooling, conformal cooling, lightweighting in general, on-demand parts or on-demand, cavities. This is where I think technically injection molding will never go away. I think it will just be a different way to accelerate injection molding and make better choices, less scrap, less waste, is how we look at it.
Yeah, no, those are huge points to be making. And I'm looking forward to seeing that unfold during the webinar, because there's a lot of good detail in there. And I know we don't have enough time to honor it. So make sure you tune into that webinar, June 29th, and we'll go ahead and have a link into that inside of here. Besides all of the work stuff going on, are you guys keeping sane by having some hobbies that at least through all the madness the last 3 months have kept you in good spirits, or how things been going on the personal level?
Yeah. So for sure, we've definitely been keeping ourselves busy, on the nights and weekends outside of the office. I'm a shade tree mechanic. I've been that way for half my life, really. So
Nice.
I'm trying to do whatever work I can. It's a little limiting not having access to certain facilities that I had access to before, but I'm still getting the work done as best as possible. And in addition to that, I decided to take some extra classes this year, broaden my horizons a little bit. And then actually myself, Alan, and another guy we work with, the 3 of us are all in the midst of planning weddings. So
heck of a time to be planning.
Well, actually, let me clarify that a second. Yeah. So there's 2 of us that had wedding dates. So one of our engineers, Sean Healy, basically had his date 2 weeks prior to mine, prior to hiring, of course, in. We had ours planned for almost a whole year ahead of time. And well, of course, we've had to move those dates. He ended up moving his to the later of next year, and we were here crossing our fingers for the August 8th date. And then Hitch got, I guess, engaged right before you got here, and then he's scheduled for, I think, October. So first time I've ever seen that too, a small company, all 3 guys getting married, at the same time.
Yeah, you must be doing something right, maybe, you think, huh?
I don't know. Maybe need some more work, to help those guys get more busy.
That's right.
Yeah, next, right?
Good motivation, right? Yeah, that's good stuff. Good time to be kicking up. Well, that's exciting news.
I did want to share our capabilities too before I forget. I know the bullets we had here. A lot of people want to know how they can work with us and so forth.
Okay.
We are kind of a nuts and bolts shop, so we can basically take a napkin sketch and then commercialize that product for that end-use customer. During that journey of adoption, what we call for 3D printing, we want to bring customers to the adoption process, but we also want to help them scale properly. So a lot of our focus is focused on the front-end development of what part is that going to be scaled and how does it look like? And then the second part is, how do we design the proper system, the proper supply chain for that typical volume, but also the cost point, and then of course the material offering for that end-use product. And again, as we was doing the last Fever Warm project, we quickly saw there's a lot of bottlenecks already in that supply chain, and we're actually approaching a threshold of volume that actually will allow it to be a customized, optimized supply chain for just that product. So it is kind of exciting. We do consulting services, but essentially we like to take on these big capital projects and vet it out.
Yeah, the part I like on the our bigger project goals is I think one unique thing we offer our customers is a tangible roadmap. We're going to work with them from the beginning to the end of that solution and identify targets that we can bring value to, but just as well targets, their own bit of homework throughout that roadmap. And then we interject strong partners and everything into that to really bring that in solution to life.
Mm-hmm.
It's the right business.
So you'll see us doing some, lightweight engineering and mechanical engineering, of course. We are fluent with, of course, we have a number of footwear projects, just being my background, of course. But, it's kind of funny, footwear in the manufacturing space of 3D printing, it's kind of a shiny object, right? Well, when we started this position, footwear was just a pillar, it's just another bucket of categories that you focus on to drive these 3D printed solutions. And so I think it's kind of interesting that, coming from a brand who actually focuses on footwear to coming into our own company where we're kind of focused on 3D printing, supply chain and optimization, where footwear is still front and center as a capital project. So it's kind of rewarding in some ways there. But of course, we have other customers we work with too. Of course, medical industry is blowing up right now and et cetera. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, that is good stuff. I know that being able to bring all those capabilities it's a strong point. I mean, there's not a lot of people with all that experience and have been through it now, especially a lot of other startups out there that are kind of just getting into the game. So great experience and a great business plan there. So I'm sure there'll be a lot more to see from Additive Accelerator. And of course, we have the webinar coming up in June 29th, and I'll go ahead and I'll put a link to that in this discussion for anybody that's interested. Guys, anything else you'd like to add?
We've been kind of doing what everyone else has been doing, kind of waiting for, the next event to come around to where we all can get together. So it's a bit of a disappointment to see that IMTS wasn't going to happen this year. We certainly want to go to Form Next, but it's yet to be seen what kind of travel limitations we'll be under as far as global travel goes. But yeah, we're definitely itching, I think, like everyone else, to get back out there, shake hands, bow, kick feet, bump elbow, whatever the new way of
be another human being. Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, AMUG and Rapid and, Form Next, like these are like all basically Super Bowl events for us to, to see our professional colleagues and also see what people are doing and seeing how that's shaping. Also watching the market grow. Like every time we go to one of these events, I mean, it's just bigger from last year. So this year, not to see any of that stuff, and then do these virtual events and then these virtual trade shows, these virtual tables, like, I'm not a dinosaur by any means, but like, wow, this is a very different way of doing business. I mean, used to the handshake and, and take somebody out to dinner and then, kind of schmooze them a little bit. Now you're seeing, what did you do lately? Or what's the pipeline look like? So it's definitely a different playbook. We are excited its future. I mean, we pretty much see this year, especially the recent cancellation of IMTS, as basically going to be a null year. I mean, I think Form Next would be a stretch for our organization. But we are looking forward to the 2021 year. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, hopefully we could all get together again pretty soon because it is something I know everyone misses. But at the same time, we're rolling out how to do that. There's a lot of things like you're talking about with coming up with applications that make everybody safe in their environment. So just keep on pushing through that. And I'm sure by the time we'll get to those days of hanging out together sometime soon, hopefully, sooner than later, please.
Yeah, sure.
Well, good guys. Hey, thanks for joining me today. Again, I wish you all the best of luck and I will be seeing you around and everybody can tune into your webinar on June 29th and learn a lot more. This is the first 3-person interview. So again, another first here. And you guys have a wonderful day and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Adam.
Great.
Yeah.